Your body is here, but your mind is somewhere else entirely. Maybe you are thinking about a meeting that has not happened yet. Maybe you are replaying a conversation from yesterday. Maybe you are planning dinner or worrying about money or wondering if you said the wrong thing last week. Your eyes are open, your hands are moving, but you are not here. And the strange thing is you do not even notice. This is not a personal problem. This is a human problem. The mind loves to travel. It moves into the past. It jumps into the future. It spins stories, makes lists, creates worries out of nothing. But right now, in this moment, there is another way to live. It is not new. It is not complicated. And you do not need to sit on a cushion in a quiet room to find it. This philosophy is called Zen. And the way it is applied to ordinary living is its greatest gift. And it is not about escaping your life. It is about arriving in it. This is a graded lesson for English learners who love ideas that change their lives. Today, we are going to look at 7 ideas from Zen philosophy. Simple ideas, old ideas, ideas that have helped millions of people slow down, breathe, and find something they did not expect to find in the middle of a busy Tuesday morning. Calm. Not a calm that comes after the work is done. Not a calm that waits for the weekend, but a calm that lives inside ordinary moments. A cup of tea, a walk to the bus stop, the sound of rain on a window. Peace is not somewhere else. It is right here. By the end of this lesson, you will not need to change your schedule. You will not need to book a retreat or buy a new journal or wake up at 5 in the morning. You will only need to look a little differently at what is already in front of you. That is it. That is the whole practice. If this kind of lesson speaks to you, subscribe right now. New lessons come every week, and every one of them is designed to help you grow your English and your understanding of the world at the same time. Now let us begin with a question. Where are you right now? Not your body, not this room, this bus, this desk. Where is your mind? Lesson 1, the mind that never stops. Let me paint a picture for you. It is 7 in the morning. A person sits at a kitchen table. There is coffee in front of them. There is toast. There is a window with soft morning light coming through it. But they are not looking at the light. They are looking at their phone. They scroll through messages. They check the news. They read something that makes them feel worried. They put the phone down. They pick it up again. They drink the coffee without tasting it. They eat the toast without noticing it. And then they leave for work. The morning is gone. This is not a story about a lazy person or a careless person. This person works hard. This person loves their family. This person is doing their best. But somewhere along the way, they forgot how to be in the room they are actually in. Does any part of that feel familiar? Here is the truth. The human mind was not designed to be still. Scientists who study the brain have found something both interesting and a little uncomfortable. The mind wanders for nearly half of our waking hours, not during sleep, during the day, while we are working, talking, eating, walking. Nearly half the time, we are not where we think we are. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, who wrote one of the most important books in history, said this: "You have power over your mind, not outside events." He wrote that nearly 2,000 years ago. And it is still one of the hardest things a human being can learn because the mind does not want to stay. It moves, it pulls, it runs. It goes back to the argument you had last month. It jumps forward to the presentation next Friday. It makes a shopping list. It worries about your parents. It wonders what your colleague meant by that comment. It plans, it regrets, it wonders, and your life passes by. Your coffee gets cold, your child says something funny at the table, and you miss it. The sky turns a beautiful color outside your window, and you do not see it. You are not living your life. You are thinking about it. Now, I want to be clear about something important. Thinking is not the enemy. Planning is not the enemy. Memory is not the enemy. These are gifts. They make us human. The problem is not that we think. The problem is that we think without choosing to. The mind runs and we follow it. We follow it into worry. We follow it into regret. We follow it into fear about things that have not happened and may never happen. And we forget the most basic thing. Right now, in this moment, you are okay. Right now, the air is moving in and out of your body. Right now, there is sound around you. Right now, there is a floor under your feet and a sky above your head. Right now, you are here. Zen does not ask you to stop your mind. Zen asks you to notice when you have left the room and come back. That is all. Come back to the coffee. Come back to the light. Come back to the sound of the world moving gently around you. The distracted mind says there is somewhere better to be. The present mind says, I am already there. In the next lesson, we are going to look at one of the most beautiful ideas in all of Zen philosophy. It is a Japanese concept. And once you understand it, you will never look at an ordinary moment the same way again. Lesson 2. This moment will never come again. There is a Japanese phrase that I want you to hold in your mind for a moment. Ichi-go, ichi-e. Say it slowly. Ichi-go, ichi-e. It translates roughly as one time, one meeting. Or more beautifully, this moment only once. The idea is simple, but it is also a little breathtaking when you really let it in. This moment right now has never happened before, and it will never happen again. Not a version like this. Not a moment with exactly this light, this temperature, this feeling in your chest, this particular thought moving through your mind. This combination, these exact conditions, this specific second of your life. It is happening once, right now, and then it is gone. Stay with me. I know that sounds a little heavy, but it is not meant to make you sad. It is meant to wake you up. Think about the last time you had a conversation with someone you love. Maybe it was your mother or your best friend or your child. You were probably thinking about something else at the same time. A task you needed to finish, a message you forgot to send, something you were worried about. And that conversation, that exact version of them, their voice at that volume, their face in that light, the specific thing they said that you only half heard it, is gone now. It will not come back. Ichi-go, ichi-e. The Vietnamese Zen monk and teacher Thich Nhat Hanh spent his whole life teaching one essential thing. He said that the present moment is the only moment available to us. The past is a memory. The future is a thought. But right now, this breath, this second, this is where your life is actually happening. He had a practice that became famous all around the world. He called it washing dishes to wash dishes. Most of us wash dishes to finish washing dishes. We want the task to be over. We are already thinking about what comes next. Sit down, rest, watch something, sleep. The dishes are just an obstacle between us and the next thing. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "What if washing the dishes was the point? What if this moment, your hands in warm water, the weight of a bowl, the small sound of water running? What if this was not nothing? What if this was your life, fully alive, right here? Not the life you will have after the dishes. This life, now." There is a kind of sadness that comes from always living in the next moment, always waiting for the better thing, the weekend, the holiday, the promotion, the day when things finally calm down. But what if calm is not waiting for you somewhere ahead? What if calm is here in the middle of the ordinary Tuesday you are already living? This is what Ichi-go, ichi-e asks you to feel, not to think about, to feel. Right now, wherever you are listening to this, something is happening around you. There is temperature on your skin. There is sound. There is light or darkness. There is the rise and fall of your own breathing. This exact moment, it is happening once, and it is already slipping away. And it was beautiful. You do not need to hold it. You cannot hold it. All you need to do is be here for it, fully here, just for a second, just for this 1 second that will never come again. That is the gift of Ichi-go, ichi-e. Not the past, not the future, just this. Lesson 3. See everything as if for the first time. I want to ask you something. When did you last really look at your front door? Not glance at it, not walk past it, really look at it. The color, the texture, the small scratches near the handle from years of keys missing the lock, the way the light hits it in the morning. You have opened that door hundreds of times, maybe thousands, but have you ever truly seen it? There is a concept in Zen Buddhism called Shoshin. It is a Japanese word. It means beginner's mind. Shunryu Suzuki was a Japanese Zen master who moved to San Francisco in the 1950s and spent the rest of his life teaching Americans how to sit, how to breathe, and how to look at the world again. His most famous book is called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And in that book, he wrote one sentence that has stayed with people for decades. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. Read that again slowly. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. What does this mean? It means that the more familiar something becomes, the less we actually see it. We replace the real thing with a label. We stop looking and start assuming. The door is just a door. The street is just a street. Breakfast is just breakfast. My partner is just my partner. My life is just my life. And slowly, without meaning to, we stop arriving. We move through our days on memory alone. Now think about this. A child seeing rain for the first time does not think rain again. A child watches it fall, touches it, tastes it, wonders where it comes from, wonders where it goes. That child is fully alive in the presence of ordinary water falling from the sky. And then we grow up, and rain becomes something that makes us late. Shoshin asks you to borrow that child's eyes, not permanently, not every second of every day, just sometimes. Just in small moments where you choose to look again at something you think you already know. If you walk the same road to work every morning, what have you stopped noticing? If you eat the same breakfast every day, when did you last actually taste it? If you live with someone you love, when did you last look at their face the way you looked at it the first time you met them? These are not big questions. They do not require any special equipment or training or extra time in your day. They only require a single shift in attention, from automatic to awake. You have walked this road 100 times, but have you ever truly walked it? This is the practice of Shoshin, not a grand spiritual exercise, just a quiet decision to see what is already there. The same street, new eyes, the same morning, new attention, the same life, seen perhaps for the first time as something worth looking at. And here is the beautiful thing. You do not have to go anywhere exotic to find wonder. You do not have to travel to a temple or climb a mountain or sit in silence for a week. Wonder is already at your front door. You just stopped looking at it. Look again. Lesson 4. 3 breaths is enough. Let me tell you about a moment that most people have had. You are standing somewhere, maybe in a lift, maybe at a red light, maybe in a queue at a coffee shop, maybe waiting for water to boil in your kitchen. And you feel it, that small pull, that quiet discomfort of doing nothing. So you reach for your phone. Of course you do. We all do. The phone is there. It is easy. It is full of things to look at. And looking at things feels better than standing still with nothing happening. But here is what is actually happening in that moment. Your mind is telling you that the present moment is not enough, that you need something more interesting than a lift door or a red light or a kettle on a stove. That being here, just breathing, just waiting is a waste of time. And you believe it. So you leave. You leave the lift and go somewhere on a screen. You leave the red light and enter a feed of other people's lives. You leave your kitchen and travel somewhere in your mind that has nothing to do with warm water and tea. And the moment passes, unused, unseen. Now think about how many moments like that happen in a single day. The lift, the queue, the 2 minutes before a meeting starts, the walk from the car to the front door, the 60 seconds while the page loads. All of those moments gone, filled with noise, filled with scrolling, filled with anything except what is actually there. Jon Kabat-Zinn is an American scientist and teacher who spent decades studying what happens to the mind and body when we learn to be present. He helped bring mindfulness into hospitals, schools, and workplaces around the world. And one of the simplest things he ever said was also one of the most powerful. Wherever you go, there you are. You cannot escape the present moment. You can only ignore it. Listen carefully. You do not need an hour of meditation. You do not need a special cushion or a quiet room or a teacher sitting beside you. You need 3 breaths. That is all. 3 slow, full breaths taken with attention. 1 breath where you feel the air come in. 1 breath where you feel your chest rise. 1 breath where you feel everything slow down for just 1 second. 3 breaths. That is all it takes to return to yourself. Researchers who study the brain have found something that should alarm us a little. The mind wanders for nearly half of our waking hours. Nearly half. We are physically somewhere and mentally somewhere else entirely for almost 50% of our lives. And here's what those same researchers found. When the mind wanders, we are less happy, not because of what we are thinking about, simply because we are not here. The present moment is not just a spiritual idea, it is where happiness actually lives. If this lesson is helping you slow down and breathe, subscribe right now. New lessons come every week, and everyone is made for people who want to grow their English and their understanding of the world at the same time. Now, back to those 3 breaths. The next time you are standing in a lift, do not reach for your phone. Stand. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the air on your face. Take 1 breath. Take another. Take a third. Look at the door in front of you. Notice the color. Notice the texture. Notice that you are alive and standing and here. That is it. That is the whole practice. You are not living in the future. You are not fixing the past. You are here, in this breath, in this second. And this second, as we said before, will never come again. 3 breaths. That is all it takes. Peace is not somewhere else. It is right here. Lesson 5. When you drink tea, just drink tea. There is an old Zen saying that I want to share with you. When you walk, walk. When you eat, eat. When you drink tea, just drink tea. Simple words, almost too simple. You might read them and think, yes, of course. I know that. What is the big idea? But try it. Right now, try doing just one thing. Just listen to this lesson. No phone in your hand, no other tab open, no food, no drink, no background task. Just this. For most people, that lasts about 40 seconds. We have become a species of splitters. We split our attention. We split our focus. We split ourselves across 5 things at once and wonder why we feel tired and empty at the end of the day. We eat while we scroll. We walk while we talk. We sit with the people we love while our minds are at work. We work while we are thinking about being somewhere else entirely. We are everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen teacher we met earlier in this lesson, wrote extensively about what he called full attention. The idea that when you do something, you give it everything, not most of your attention. Not your attention between distractions, all of it. And he was very clear that this did not only apply to meditation or prayer or quiet spiritual practice. It applied to washing dishes, to sweeping a floor, to making a phone call, to eating lunch. Let me make this simple. Full attention is not about doing less. It is about being more present in what you are already doing. There is a difference between eating and tasting. There is a difference between looking and seeing. There is a difference between listening and hearing. That difference is attention. I want to tell you a small story. A man sat down for lunch at his desk. He had done this every day for 3 years. He always ate the same way. Phone in one hand, fork in the other. News on the screen. Food disappearing without being noticed. One afternoon, he knocked his phone off the desk. It slid under a cabinet and he could not reach it. He sat there with his lunch and nothing else. He felt uncomfortable for about 2 minutes. And then slowly he started to notice things. The warmth of the bowl in his hands. The smell of the food. The actual flavor of something he had eaten 100 times without ever really tasting. The sound of the building around him, the light from the window. He sat there and ate his lunch. Just ate his lunch. And he said later that it was one of the most peaceful meals of his life. Not because the food was special, not because something magical happened, but because he was there for it. This is what Zen is asking you to do. Not to slow down your whole life, not to give up your phone or your schedule or your ambitions, just to be where you are when you are there. When you drink your morning coffee, drink it. Feel the warmth of the cup. Smell it before you taste it. Be in that moment completely. When you talk to someone you love, talk to them. Look at their face. Hear their words. Put everything else down. When you walk outside, walk. Feel the ground. Feel the air. Move through the world instead of above it. Rushing through life gets you to the end faster. Moving through life with attention lets you actually live it. Full attention is not a gift you give to others. It is a gift you give to yourself. Peace is not somewhere else. It is right here. Lesson 6, the beauty of enough. I want to ask you a question. Do you have a favorite mug? An old one, maybe a little worn. Maybe the handle is slightly chipped. Maybe the color has faded from too many washes. Maybe someone gave it to you years ago and you cannot remember exactly when. You probably own nicer mugs, newer ones, cleaner ones, but you keep reaching for that one. Why there is a Japanese word for the feeling that mug gives you. The word is Wabi-Sabi. It does not translate perfectly into English because English does not have a single word for it. But the meaning is something like this: the beauty of things that are imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete. Not despite those qualities, because of them. The chipped mug is beautiful because it has been used. The worn jacket is beautiful because it has been lived in. The old notebook with the bent cover is beautiful because it holds the record of a mind working through its days. Wabi-Sabi says, stop waiting for perfect. Perfect is not coming. And even if it did, you would not be able to hold it. What you have right now, worn and imperfect and a little tired, that is real. That is yours. That is enough. There is a story I want to share with you. In a small temple courtyard in Japan, there was an old woman who swept the same stone path every single morning. She had done this for 40 years. Every day, the same broom, the same stones, the same slow and careful movement from one end to the other. Visitors to the temple would sometimes stop and watch her. And occasionally, one of them would ask, does it not become boring, the same path every day for 40 years? She would look up. And she would say very simply, I am not sweeping. I am here. Hear me on this. That woman was not doing a task. She was practicing the art of being fully alive inside an ordinary moment. The sweeping was not the point. The presence was the point. The fact that she was here, awake, moving through the world with full attention, that was the whole practice. She had an empty cup. And now I want to talk to you about that. The empty cup. There is a famous Zen story about a professor who visits a Zen master to learn about Buddhism. The master begins to pour tea into the professor's cup. The cup fills, and the master keeps pouring. The tea overflows. It spills onto the table, onto the floor. The professor says, stop. The cup is full. No more will go in. The master looks at him and says, you are like this cup. You come full of opinions, full of knowledge, full of plans. How can I show you anything unless you first empty your cup. If you want to find calm in your daily life, you need a little empty space. If you want to see beauty in ordinary moments, you need to release the idea that something better is waiting somewhere else. If you want to be fully here, you need to let go of the need for life to be different from what it is right now. A full cup spills, an empty cup receives. This is not about giving up your dreams or accepting things that should be changed. It is about releasing the constant low-level dissatisfaction that follows us through our days. The feeling that this moment is not quite right, that we are not quite enough, that life has not yet become what it should be. You do not need to fix everything. Some things are beautiful because they are worn. Some moments are enough exactly as they are. Lesson 7. You drifted, you returned. That is enough. I want to tell you something that no one talks about enough. This is hard. Not the ideas. The ideas are simple. Breathe, breathe. Look at your door, drink your tea, let go. Simple. But actually doing it inside a real life with real pressure and real noise and a phone that never stops, that is genuinely difficult. And here is what happens to most people who try. They decide to be more present. They feel good about the decision. They take 3 breaths in the lift. They look at their coffee with attention. They walk to work and actually notice the street. And then something happens. A message arrives. A worry surfaces. Their mind drifts into next week or last month. They lose the thread. They spend 20 minutes inside a thought spiral about something they cannot control. And then they remember. They were supposed to be present. And they feel bad about it. They think, I failed. I cannot do this. Other people can do this, but I cannot. I am too distracted, too stressed, too far gone. And so they stop trying. Take a breath. I want you to hear this very clearly. Drifting is not failure. Drifting is what minds do. Every mind, the mind of a beginner and the mind of a Zen master, both drift. The difference is not that one mind stays and the other wanders. The difference is what happens next. The untrained mind drifts and stays lost. It follows the thought. It builds on the worry. It constructs a whole story around a feeling and then lives inside that story for an hour. The practice mind drifts, notices, returns. That is the entire practice. Not staying, returning. You drifted. You noticed. You came back. That is not failure. That is exactly what the practice looks like. Mindfulness teachers who have spent decades working with the mind say the same thing in different ways. The moment you notice you have wandered is itself a moment of presence. The noticing is the practice. The return is the practice. You do not need to be perfectly present. You only need to keep coming back. Think about what that means for your day. You sit down to eat lunch with full attention. Your mind drifts to a problem at work. You notice. You come back to the food. That is the practice working exactly as it should. You take 3 breaths at a red light. On the second breath, your mind goes to a conversation you need to have tomorrow. You notice. You return to the 3rd breath. That is the practice working exactly as it should. You look at your old mug with fresh eyes. You feel grateful for a moment. Then your mind moves on. You smile. You come back. That is the practice. No judgment, no score. No record of how many times you drifted versus how many times you stayed. Just this: drift, notice, return. Drift, notice, return. Over and over for the rest of your life, getting a little gentler each time, a little softer with yourself, a little more willing to come back without making it mean something terrible about who you are. You drifted, you returned. That is not failure. That is the practice. And one day, without realizing exactly when it happened, you will find that you drift a little less, that you catch yourself a little faster, that the return feels more natural, more familiar, more like coming home. Not because you forced it, but because you kept coming back. You have always had the ability to return. You are doing it right now. We have come a long way together in this lesson. From a kitchen table where someone is eating breakfast without tasting it, to a temple courtyard where an old woman sweeps the same path she has swept for 40 years and calls it home. Let me leave you with 4 things to carry with you. Lesson 1. Calm is not something you find at the end of the day. It is something you choose again and again inside the smallest moments. The lift, the kettle, the 3 breaths at a red light. Calm lives there. It has always lived there. Lesson 2. Every ordinary thing around you, a cup, a door, a street, a face, is a doorway. You only need to look at it like someone who has never seen it before. Shoshin, beginner's mind. The world is full of things you have stopped seeing. Look again. Lesson 3. You will drift. Your mind will wander. You will forget to be present and then remember and feel bad about forgetting. Do not. The return is the practice. Come back gently. Come back without judgment. Come back as many times as it takes. There is no limit on how many times you are allowed to begin again. Lesson 4. You do not need to go anywhere. You do not need to change your schedule or your life or yourself. Peace is not somewhere else. It is right here, in this breath, in this moment, in the ordinary Tuesday you are already living. And so can you. Wherever you are right now, this moment is enough. Keep listening daily. This channel is made for people who are learning English and love ideas that matter. What is one ordinary moment in your day that you want to slow down? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. Until next time, be here.